Tim Prister with Tim O'Malley after Brian Kelly's press conference previewing Notre Dame versus Virginia Tech this weekend. He commented on a lot of things. First of all, Alex Bars does indeed have a torn ACL, MCL. Straightforward procedure for that knee. He still is with the team, and as far as a captain, made the captain's meeting, will be a part of it. But as Brian Kelly said, he'd much rather have, in a question about Liam Eichenberg, he would much rather have Alex Bars next to him. But I thought some interesting comments, Tim, about Ian Book in terms of the confidence that he's instilled in the offense, and no restrictions on Dexter Williams. 1 game under his belt, 201 carries, full go for him.
Well, I think he has to be, in part because even though Brian Kelly did mention Tony Jones is doing better than they thought, better than you thought means maybe he'll be available instead of out, or maybe it's Tuesday and Brian Kelly's very positive about injuries on Tuesdays. But yeah, I would assume you have to entrust Dexter Williams with a lot if Tony Jones can't go, and even if he's gimpy, he's going to have to get a lot of carries. I don't think they are going to really want to activate those freshmen unless they have to. They're obviously going to be there ready to play, and they'll be in the game plan, but boy, that's not the place you want to insert them in pass protection and everything else. So I think this is a big week for Dexter Williams in terms of preparation and what he can get done in all phases of the game on the field.
We, of course, talked about the environment that Notre Dame will be going into at Virginia Tech Lane Stadium this weekend. I brought up the Miami experience. He says they haven't even talked about that. They'll talk about it this week because there's a direct correlation, and it's going to be very loud on the practice field this week. I don't know how much that ultimately helps because you can't simulate the emotions that are tied in with an opposing crowd. But I think the Miami experience last year, it can only help them.
I wouldn't think they would crack because of that. They cracked last year. I know this is going to be Ian's Book's first assimilation to that, but he was there. He knows how loud it was. But I don't think this offense is going to crack. They have been through that. Now, couching that, the offensive line, other than Sam Mustipher, they have real issues with noise because that's who it really affects, is the tackles. Robert Hainsey, Liam Eichenberg. Is going to be Eichenberg's by far the biggest challenge of Eichenberg's career in terms of that. Now, he's faced better players with Michigan, of course. So that's why I think Trevor Ruhlen's going to be the man at left guard for this game before they really start trying to weed that situation out, and he probably will be going forward. But I do not think they're going to put a new guy, a redshirt freshman, in there to try to communicate in that environment. I think Trevor Ruhlen's going to be the left guard next to Eichenberg, and Eichenberg might need that.
Yeah, and of course, Bud Foster, their defensive coordinator, Brian Kelly, listed off a bunch of different looks that Ian Book will get this week. And Ian Book, we talk about Miami, he experienced the failure too.
That's right.
So, it's not like that he didn't get that experience firsthand at Miami. Defensive side of the football, we've been talking about Khalid Kareem and how they can get him some rest after he tweaks his ankle every week. Brian Kelly said he likes the ovation that he gets every time he's injured and gets up. But he's going to play, and he said it's just going to have to be the 4 days during the bye week for him to rest up.
I think they want to rest him. And you know what? We always talk about this. It seems like it makes sense to rest the starter. There's 12 football games. The starter doesn't want to rest. He prepares hard. If he's going to be practicing hard, the coaches don't want to sit him. I think they'd love to have a 2-week bye for Khalid Kareem, but it doesn't exist. So maybe if he's not heavily involved in a Navy game plan, he could get some extra rest. But it looks like it's going to be 1 week off for Kareem and just fighting through it.
I thought it was an interesting analysis by Brian Kelly of Jalen Elliott, how he was trying to, on the 2 touchdowns by Stanford last week, how he was trying to make the adjustment as it was happening, so to speak, and that in meetings he understands what's happening with the 3 technique and things up front. So that's real positive. Notre Dame doing good things on the back end of the defense. They're going to have to be very, very sharp this weekend to deal with that environment at Virginia Tech.
I think that if Notre Dame plays their game, they are much better than Virginia Tech.
No, I agree with that.
I'm not sure we thought that. Well, we didn't think that they were much better in August. Now I am convinced they are much better, and it's because of that pass rush. It travels. We were talking about that on the podcast. Ian Book may have balls bounce off guys' shoulder pads for interceptions, but that pass rush is coming right back on the field, and I think they'll be able to control the contest.
However you look at it, it won't be easy as Notre Dame goes to Virginia Tech to take on the Hokies.